at my dad's will reading. My cousin Derek laughed and said, I already took the money and spent it. Good luck getting anything. But the lawyer, Mr. Grant, just smiled and slid a folder across the table. You might want to read this first, he said. Derek's smile disappeared as he started reading. I had a bad feeling when I walked into the law office. The air felt heavy, like something bad was about to happen. I sat down at the long table, my hands clenched in my lap. My dad and I didn't have the best relationship, but I was there to hear his will out of respect. Derek was already there, looking way too confident. He was wearing fancy clothes and an expensive watch. Derek never had money, so something was definitely off. Mr. Grant cleared his throat. Thank you for coming. As you know, Mr. Porter's estate will be divided as per his wishes. Any questions before we begin? I stayed quiet, but Derek just said, nah, let's get this over with. He looked like he was holding back a laugh. Mr. Grant read the will. My dad had left money, property, and other things to both me and Derek, but as he kept reading, Derek's grin grew bigger. Then came the shocker. The inheritance, which was held in a trust, was already given to Derek 6 months before Mr. Porter's death, as he requested. What? I said, feeling sick. Derek burst out laughing. Yeah, I already got the money and spent it. Good luck getting anything. I stared at him, feeling cold and angry, but Mr. Grant wasn't bothered at all. In fact, he looked amused. Then he did something surprising. He pulled out a folder and pushed it toward Derek. Actually, he said calmly, you might want to read this first. Derek's face went pale as he opened the folder and looked at the papers. What? This can't be real, he stammered. Mr. Grant adjusted his glasses. Oh, it's real. Your father suspected you'd try to get the money early, so he set up a fake inheritance to test you. The real inheritance was never part of that trust. I blinked. A test? Derek was shaking now. This is... Mr. Grant cut him off. Yes, it was a test. Your father wanted to see if you'd try to take the money before you were supposed to. Doing that triggered a rule that disinherited you from the real estate and assets. I couldn't help but smile. So, the money Derek took wasn't even the real inheritance? Mr. Grant nodded. Derek shot up from his chair, fists clenched. You're lying. I spent it all. The houses, the cars. I invested it. You can't just... Mr. Grant calmly slid another document across the table. Actually, we can. That's a court order freezing everything left from the stolen trust. Derek went silent, then suddenly started screaming. He began pacing the room, running his hands through his hair. This isn't happening. This can't be real. Mr. Grant sighed. Oh, it's real, and it gets worse. Derek looked up in panic. Worse? Mr. Grant tapped the next page. Your father knew you'd blow through the money, so he made sure you're legally responsible for paying back every cent. Derek collapsed back into his chair, breathing hard. I can't. There's nothing left. That's unfortunate, Mr. Grant said coldly, but we're prepared to go after everything you have. Your father made sure of it. Derek clenched his jaw. You can't get blood from a stone. Mr. Grant raised an eyebrow. You can if the stone committed fraud. I couldn't help but feel satisfied. Derek tried to cheat my dad and ended up ruining himself. He had played himself, and I didn't have to do a thing. Derek's breathing was shaky. I have a house, a car, but... Mr. Grant raised a hand. Not anymore. Derek froze. Mr. Grant gave a cold smile. Everything you bought with that money will be sold to pay off the debt. You won't have a single penny left. Derek looked completely broken. His hands were shaking as he realized how badly he had messed up. And me? I just sat there and watched. This was the best day of my life. I watched Derek's world fall apart right in front of me. His face was pale. His breathing was uneven. He thought he had won, but he was the joke all along. And the best part? He did it to himself. Mr. Grant started packing up his papers, ignoring Derek's meltdown. You can review the documents with your own lawyer, he said, but I suggest not wasting time. The court orders take effect right away. Derek's eyes darted around like a trapped animal. No, no, no. This is fraud. He pointed at me. You set me up. This can't be real. I chuckled. Oh, it's real. Derek shot up from his chair, nearly knocking it over. I'll fight this. I'll sue. This is a scam. You can't just take my money. Mr. Grant looked bored. It was never your money, Derek. It was a trust you stole from your own uncle. And now, you're facing the consequences. I expected Derek to lose his temper and start screaming, but instead, he did something worse. He smiled, a creepy, twisted smile. "You think I'll just let this happen?" he said softly. "You think I don't have options?" I tensed up. Mr. Grant's grip tightened slightly on his briefcase, but he didn't show any fear. Derek leaned forward, his voice low. "Here's the deal. You call this off, and I'll make sure nothing bad happens." Silence. Then Mr. Grant shook his head. Threats. That's always a desperate man's last move." Derek's grin vanished. Mr. Grant stared him down. "I suggest you watch your words, Derek, because if you think you're in trouble now, just wait until the law gets involved." Derek sank back into his chair, his face twisted with anger. Then Mr. Grant looked at me. "There's one more thing." Derek groaned. "Another trap? What else could you take from me?" Mr. Grant ignored him and handed me another folder. "This is something your father wanted you to have personally." I frowned. "What is it?" "Read." I opened the folder. The first page made my heart skip a beat. It was proof, bank statements, fake signatures, years of stolen money, and Derek's name was all over it. I looked up in shock. This is... Yes, Mr. Grant said. "This isn't just about the trust or the money he blew in the last 6 months. Derek's been stealing from your father for years." I could hear Derek's breathing getting heavier. His foot was tapping quickly under the table. "You're lying," he said through clenched teeth. "No," I said, flipping through the papers. "You are. These are loan applications in my dad's name, secret withdrawals, even a forged property sale. Derek, you weren't just greedy, you were a criminal." Mr. Grant turned to him. "Your uncle didn't want to press charges while he was alive, but after his death, he told us to move forward." Derek looked like he was about to be sick. I closed the folder, my mind racing. "So, what happens now?" Mr. Grant sighed. "Well, that depends." He turned back to Derek. "If you cooperate, we might settle this civilly, but if you fight, we'll pursue full legal action, including criminal charges." Derek's mouth opened, then closed. He knew he was trapped. I thought that was the end, but then Derek did something I didn't expect. 3 days later, Derek disappeared. No calls, no emails, no trace of him. At first, I thought he was just hiding, but then I got a call from Mr. Grant. "We have a problem," he said. My stomach dropped. "What kind of problem?" "The kind that involves fake passports and trying to run away." I sat up. "You're kidding." "I wish I was." Mr. Grant sighed. "Derek bought a one-way ticket to Argentina. He's trying to escape." I felt a slow burn of anger. "Did he make it?" There was a pause. Then Mr. Grant chuckled. "No, he got caught at the airport." I nearly fell off my chair laughing. Derek was arrested at the airport with a fake passport, a suitcase full of cash, and a very expensive watch he didn't own anymore. Faking your identity while being investigated for financial crimes? Bad idea. And just like that, Derek went from a cocky con artist to a wanted fugitive. The court seized everything: his house, his cars, his bank accounts, even his personal stuff was sold to pay his debts. And me? I got everything my dad wanted me to have. Derek didn't give up easily. He spent months fighting the case, but there was too much evidence. In the end, the law caught up to him. He was convicted of fraud, theft, and attempted identity fraud. His sentence? 15 years. I visited him once, just once. He looked different, thinner, paler. The arrogance was gone, replaced by something broken. "You happy?" he spat through the glass. I thought about it for a second, then smiled. "Yes," and I walked away. After Derek was convicted, I thought it was all over. I had won. I got my father's estate, his money, his business. Derek was in prison, with nothing left. I was finally free of him. Or so I thought. 6 months after Derek's sentencing, I got a letter, not an email, but a real, handwritten letter. It was from Derek. I almost threw it away, but curiosity got the best of me. The letter was short, and it scared me. "You think this is over? I have friends. You took everything from me. Now, I'm taking something from you." No signature, just that one chilling sentence. I read it twice, my heart racing. It wasn't just anger, it was a threat. I locked all my doors that night. At first, nothing happened. Weeks passed, then months. I started to think maybe Derek was bluffing, until the break-in. It happened at 3 a.m. My security system went off, waking me up in panic. Someone was trying to break in. By the time the police arrived, the intruder was gone. But they left something behind, a single playing card, a joker, taped to my front door. I went straight to Mr. Grant. "This isn't possible," I said, pacing in his office. "He's in prison." Mr. Grant nodded, looking serious. "He is, but he's not powerless. Derek had connections, small-time criminals, shady partners, people who owed him favors, and now, they're coming for you." That's when I decided, if Derek wanted a war, I'd give it to him. I hired a private investigator. If Derek had people working for him on the outside, I needed to find out who. The PI, a guy named Henderson, was good. 2 weeks later, he came back with names. Derek still had 3 key people running his dirty work: Victor Cole, a former accountant who helped him hide stolen money; Ray Bones Martinez, a tough guy who wasn't afraid to use violence; and Samantha Price, an ex-girlfriend, smart, dangerous, the real mastermind behind Derek's plans. Henderson leaned back in his chair. "These people, they don't scare easy, and they don't give up." I clenched my fists. "Neither do I. I needed to do what my dad did to Derek, set a trap. So, I made it look like I was moving all the estate's money into one weak account. It was a lie, but I made sure the right people heard about it. It worked. 3 days later, Samantha Price showed up at my bank, trying to take the money using fake documents. She didn't know the account was already flagged and the bank manager was working with the police. The moment she handed over the fake papers, the alarms went off. They arrested her right there. Samantha broke down fast, facing serious charges. She spilled everything. Victor Cole, arrested for fraud and tax evasion. Ray Bones Martinez, caught with illegal weapons and other crimes. Derek, turns out, he was running everything from prison using a smuggled phone. When they searched his cell, they found plans detailing how to attack my accounts, my house, even my family. That sealed his fate. Derek's original 15-year sentence doubled to 35 years, no chance of parole. I didn't visit him this time, but I sent him a letter. It was short and clear: checkmate. I never heard from him again, but I knew he read it and understood I'd beaten him for good. Derek's plan had completely fallen apart. His partners were arrested or turned against him. His sentence was extended, and he'd be stuck in prison for most of his life. I should have felt relieved, but I wasn't done yet. Even in prison, Derek was trying to fight back. He hired a high-priced, shady lawyer known for helping criminals. Derek was desperate. He had nothing left to lose. His lawyer sent me a letter demanding a settlement. A settlement. The man who stole from my father and tried to ruin me was now begging for money. I laughed so hard I nearly fell out of my chair. Then, I took action. I hired the best lawyer I could find, and I didn't just fight back, I countersued him for damages, emotional distress, and everything he tried to take. The case moved fast. The judge looked at Derek's history and threw out his case immediately. My countersuit? Approved. The court ruled that everything Derek had left, his belongings, his prison wages, even any money he might get in the future, would go to me. Every dollar he would ever make, mine. Even in prison, he'd be working for me. I sent him one last letter: "Now you work for me. Enjoy the next 35 years. No threats, no insults, just the truth." I never got a reply, but I pictured Derek sitting in his tiny prison cell, reading those words over and over, knowing he lost everything. Derek always thought money was power. He thought he could lie, cheat, and steal his way through life, but in the end, the law and karma caught up with him. And me? I was finally free. Derek was exactly where he deserved to be.